Okay, babies, we are going to talk about solving using our log properties. The thing you need to remember here is that you can't take the log of 0 or a negative. So we will have to check our answers in our originals. So in this first example here, I've got addition going on, so I'm going to use my product property to condense this into one term. Well, the product property tells me that I can write this as log base 10 of z times z plus 3. And if you'll notice, here on the right, we've got a constant. Well, there's no way for me to solve z in its current form. So I've got to put this in exponential form. That's what we learned in the very beginning of the chapter, or the unit. So I've got base 10, so I'm going to raise base 10 to the 1, that power right there, and that's going to equal z times z plus 3. So then I am going to square the z. I'm just going to distribute it so that I've got z squared plus 3z, and then I am going to subtract the 10 from both sides so that now I've got a quadratic and I can factor it and figure out what my answers are. So 10's factors that will add to give me a positive 3 will be a positive 5 and a negative 2. So setting each of those equal to 0 and solving, I get negative 5 and I get positive 2. Well, remember, we can't take the log of a 0 or a negative. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my negative 5 up here and see what I get. I'm going to have log base 10 of negative 5. Well, that's going to force me to take the log of a negative. So this is not going to be one of my solutions. So 2 works because I've got log base 10 of 2. That's perfectly legal. And then I would also have log base 10 of 2 plus 3, which is still a positive number. So there's my solution. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on this problem. I'm going to use my properties to condense this side right here. So if you'll notice, I've got the 1/4 in the front and the 2. So I'm going to use the power property to bring those up into the exponential position. All right, and then I'm going to use the quotient property to condense this again into one term. So I've got log base 3 of 6 squared over 16 to the 1/4. So now I'm going to tidy this up a little bit. So I've got log base 3 of 6 squared, which is 36, and this 16 to the 1/4 means the 4th root of 16. So the one number that I can bring to the 4th power that will give me 16 is 2. So that's what the 4th root of 16 would be. Okay, once I get to this point here, I've got one log term on the left and one log term on the right. So I can just take this 36 over 2 and set it equal to x. And this, of course, would reduce to 18. And if you'll look in your original, that's the only variable I have. It is okay for me to take log base 3 of 18 because I'm not taking a log of a negative or 0. So there's my solution. We'll continue with our examples here. Again, I'm going to use the quotient property because of that right there. So I've got log base 7 of 2x over x plus 3 equals 1. And I do not have another log term on this right side, so I'm going to put this in exponential form. So I use the base 7 to the 1 equals 2x over x plus 3. All right, so now this is just a regular equation. So I'm just going to think of the 7 as 7 over 1 times 2x over 2x plus 3, and I'm going to cross multiply. So I've got 2x equals 7x plus 21. Don't forget to distribute that 7. All right, so I'm going to subtract 7x from both sides. So I've got negative 5x equals 21. Going to divide both sides by negative 5. That gives me negative 4.2. All right, so let's substitute this in here. So I'm going to use this first term. So I've got log base 7 of 2 times negative 4.2. That's going to give me a negative 8.4. I can't take the log of a negative. So for this particular problem, there is no solution. Okay, the next one. I'm going to use my power property here because I've got 1/3 and 1/2 in front. So I've got log base 7 of m equals log base 7 of 64 to the 1/3 plus log base 7 of 121 to the 1/2. Okay, so now I'm going to use my product property. I've got log base 7 of 64 to the 1/3 times 121 to the 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify these little guys right here. The cubed root of 64 is going to be 4 because 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. And the square root of 121, of course, is 11. So what I've got here is log base 7 of m equals log base 7 of 44. I've got a log term here, m is equal to 44. If you'll notice in our original, if I take log base 7 of 44, I'm not taking the log of a negative. Life is good. All right.